Hey Eric, this is Noah with ERS. Just wanted to quickly check in about service areas. So you can get to where I'm at by going to admin order config service areas. Um, so so this is a list of cities. So we can look up here. We can look at the states, cities, or zip codes. And what happens is when you first sign up with our system, you click there, and what the system does, we don't explain all the nitty gritty because you don't, it gets confusing if you put too much information in there. But basically, what we do is what the system does is it does a search through the postal service database, by default a 20-mile radius, but you can change the radius around your warehouse address. And so then you click on here, and it's going to bring that up, and then you have to clean up this list. So what happens is lots of stuff winds up this list that isn't actually a city. So because this right here is going to populate a drop-down menu of cities that your customers can choose from during the order process. And I'm guessing that part of the reason why you asked me to make an open-ended text field for the city and a drop-down menu of all 50 states for the state, which I can do. I did that, but I did that in my practice folder that I use to test things. And what I discovered is that it really kind of screwed some things up when I did that. I mean, the system can do that, but it's just not ideal. It kind of screws up with your routing, which if you're not using the routing part of our system, I highly recommend you do. And there's a training that I can send you a link to. But also the orders don't show up right, here in the scheduling area and here in the CRM, the Customer Relationships Manager. So it's just not really ideal. And what I would suggest is that you go ahead and clean this list up. So because, again, this is a list of cities. And what happens is in that USPS database, somehow over the years, all kinds of wacky stuff gets in that database, like Appalachian State University. I don't know for sure because I don't know your part of the country super well, but I'm guessing that's not a city, right? That's a university that's in a city. And so, on this page right here, there's a location name. If they want to specify that they're at Appalachian State University, they can put that in here, but you don't want that showing up here. That's not a city. And then the other thing is that because these two are spelled differently, I'm guessing this has to be the same city, right? This is just an abbreviation for Alexander Mills. But since they're spelled differently, they both show up in there. So not only does this clutter up the screen for your customers, but it also will screw up your reporting because the system thinks these are two different cities. So one customer chooses this one, and then the other customer chooses that one. In your reports, it's going to show up as two different cities. And that's going to skew your idea of how many orders you got in that city. Now, this one looks okay to me because it actually did, even though these are spelled the same, because it won't show up more than once if the city is spelled the same. But in this case, it did because the state is different. This must be, I'm guessing, a border town that is in both South Carolina and North Carolina. So that's okay. It's okay that it showed up that way. But what it looks like to me is that you maybe deleted duplicates in here that weren't, split between two different cities, because I'm not seeing any duplicates as I go through. I mean, you have like 10 pages worth of cities, and I'm not seeing any of them that are spelled identically, unless it's, one is in North Carolina and the other is in South Carolina. So what that means is, there's 963 cities in this list for your customers to choose from. And that's probably why it's not, why it's not really user-friendly for your cities. Like Wells Fargo, that shouldn't be in there. That's a bank. It's not a city, Again, I don't know how that stuff gets in there, but somehow it makes its way into the USPS database, and that's why when we first set up our service areas, we have to, clean up this list. So, I know that sounds like kind of a big job going through 963 cities. And I'm not going to lie, it'll take a little bit of time, but the easiest way to do it, this will really save you some time, is go into spreadsheet mode. And if they're not in alphabetical order, you can click here to order them in alphabetical order. That just kind of makes it a little easier. And what I would do is I would go through and just delete any, or I would check the ones that you want to get rid of. Like this one, I'd get rid of this because, again, this has to be the same city as this. And so, we can declutter that list by doing that. Maybe get rid of this too. You get the idea. AT&T, again, that's not a city. National Guard Station isn't a city. They can put that in the location name if they want to tell you that, it's on that's where it is. Bank of America is not a city. Baptist Medical Center, et cetera, et cetera. So you get the idea. You can keep going down and just check them as you go. And when you get to the bottom, just click on delete all checked and just keep going through the list that way. And it's a lot faster than being in browse mode, because every time you click on this trash can in browse mode to delete one of those, it's going to load the whole page again. So yeah, so spreadsheet mode's a faster way to do that. So I think that about covers it. Yeah, so I hope this wasn't confusing. This is one of those things that I've really struggled with explaining to our customers, because it sounds more complicated than it is. So I hope I explained it in a way that was understandable. If not, please do feel free to give me a call or send me an email or whatever, and I'll be happy to to clarify. And we can even maybe just log in together, and I'll help you get started, and until you have a good feel for it. All right, I hope this helps. Like I said, feel free to give me a call back. My number is 505. This is my direct cell phone. You can reach me at 505-916-2046. And I'll email you, so you can just reply to that email. All right, thanks a bunch. Thanks a bunch. We'll talk to you soon.